And good morning, Hoosier Nation. Welcome to another victorious edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Penn State. What a difference 24 hours makes on the Hoosier Morning After podcast. Last night, your Indiana Hoosiers go on to defeat Penn State 113-72, taking the record for Indiana on to 8-2 on the season and even 1-1 in the Big Ten. Indiana fixed their slow start from the Louisville game in an impressive fashion in this one, making 5 threes to start the game. 3 from Lamar, 2 of them from Connerway. Then after a 10-0 run, not far off of that to stretch the lead up to 18, it was clear that Indiana was going to be in complete control of this game and would be able to really enjoy the rest of the game and get back some of that offensive rhythm that we've seen before and that we desperately needed to get back on the court for this team. Indiana took a 32-point lead into half, and then they spent kind of the second half basically maintaining that lead as they would back off a little bit, be able to get some of the starters in, some rest, spread out the minutes, get some bench guys sometimes. Some of the bench guys were not available, sadly, as well. Josiah, I know, was out, and we didn't see him. Some good minutes could have been there for him if he wasn't under the weather, as it was reported to us. But just this young Penn State team just didn't back down, though. I will give them credit for that. They did try to stay in it as best as they can, and they're dealing with a pretty new roster and some young players. So I will give them props for their fight in that. But Lamar just puts up a record-breaking game. Fantastic numbers from him, not to be overshadowed by Connerway getting back to his aggressive self. Some better play by Reed Bailey. We'll get into those a little bit as we get farther into this. But thank you for being with me. Solo show for now. Martha had a big client meeting with Swiffer trying to get some new mops, so unable to jump in with me on the show in this one. But a great turnaround, great difference from the show we had to deal with on yesterday for the Louisville game to then look at this one. I warned on last show that this team would be a bit of a roller coaster this year. Roll the clip on that if we have that. We don't have that, producers, whatever. But anyways, here we are. The ups and downs. Last game, a complete down spiral of the roller coaster. Now we're back up on the top of that hill, excited and everything. I just hope that we can stick on the top of the hill for this Saturday's game against Kentucky. You hope to not have those letdowns after good games. We don't want that roller coaster to get us too sick, up and down and up and down. So we'll see what this team brings as we look forward to that. But thank you for being here with me as we kind of break down and enjoy and revel in a win again and nice rhythm back home in Assembly Hall. Obviously, the very big note to talk about in this and the marquee of this game is all about Lamar. What a game he had and impressive for that. 8th now, I believe it is, in the single game scoring list. Top of the threes list. That record was sitting at 9, tied with about 4 or 5 guys, I think, were in the 9 realm. Matt Roth being one of them. The one I remember witnessing set that record. I think Robert Johnson also was in there. He had a game, if I remember correctly, and I can't remember. I think the third was. Let me know in the chat if you remember what that one, who that one was. But he would surpass that and get 10 3-pointers made in a single game. That's just incredible. And not only to mention that was in conference play. This wasn't against a non-conference early season game. This was against a conference team, albeit a nearly under 100 Ken Palm team, but still a very impressive feat and very well deserved for him. He also finished with 44 points on 16 for 22 from the field. That impressive 10 for 15 from 3-point, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and just 1 turnover. And the really impressive thing, all of this that he did in just under 25 minutes of game time. He didn't even need the whole entire game to play, which is amazing. Set the record, find some efficiency, and then rest. What a beautiful thing. I did get a little concerned. I think they showed a close-up of Lamar. I don't know if you noticed this when you were watching the game, when he was at 9, and maybe he was at 8 at that point, but there was one point where he was very close to the record, either tying it or surpassing it. They showed a close-up of him, and I could swear I read his lips, and he said, one more. So someone must have told him that was coming, and you kind of saw that after he made 9. He wanted to surpass it. He obviously knew someone had tipped him off, I think, in that regard. Whether it is the fans yelling or a coach or a player said that to him, because he forced a few. He did force a few trying to get that, and he did make his 10th in a possession where he took one, missed one, got the rebound, decided he was too close, I guess, because then he stepped farther back and made his 10th, and then took the bow and had a seat. But what an impressive game by him. And I will not only talk about his three-point shooting, but he was very good in this game at getting downhill. And that continues to be something that needs to progress even more, I believe, from him. He has had some struggles on some layups, hitting those. I would have to dig deeper. I'll try to get that to talk when we talk about the next game. But he's going to be that threat. And we saw in Louisville of them really playing him hard at the three-point line. And if he was going to have any success, he needs to be able to break down and drive to the hoop. And he got that in this game and was able to do really, really well with that. Oh, there you go. Bison in the chat helping me out. Robert Johnson, like I knew, Matt Roth and Rod Wilmot was the last one. Yes, I remember seeing Rod's name. Thank you for that, Bison. But a great game for him overall, and some success that you hope he can build on, and you want to see travel with us now. You want to see it on the road. There's one thing about hitting shots like this and making them when you're at home. The juice, the familiarity, you just feel like things are a lot better. I think he even had a quote in the post game where he talked about the hoop looked like the ocean wide open for him, and whatever he needs to do to get himself in that mentality every game and hit it like that, that'll be fantastic to see. And really great to see success and him build on that and smile and enjoy. You'd love to see your players, after a loss that's tough, smile and enjoy the game again. I think the other big turnaround in this game, there's kind of really 3 leading into this game that I think needed to happen to get IU back into rhythm. One was making threes, and Lamar took care of that. The second one was really kind of getting aggressive and getting to the hoop. And I think Tate Connerway did a really good job of that in this game. We need more from him on a consistent basis like this. And if you really I opened up his stats this morning, he had an incredibly efficient game as well. And you really want to see that out of your starting point guard. He finished with 17 points. He was 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, 7 assists, 2 turnovers, just really great stat line from your point guard. High assists, extremely efficient, didn't force his own shot, but looked for it when he wanted to get it and got good shots, obviously, by showing that efficiency. I think we've had other games where you see high attempts out of him. I don't want to see really high attempts out of Tate Connerway unless, obviously, he's having to shoulder things. And if he's having to shoulder things, that obviously shows some issues because you really want most of the attempts coming from Tucker and from Lamar. And then he's just kind of that third scorer, and he needs to be that third guy for Indiana. So if he's hovering around kind of 10 points in a game while the other guys are scoring, obviously he may need to contribute more in times when those guys aren't hitting like they are. But this is the kind of game that you want to see from Tate. A game where he is in control. He's being efficient. He's not turning it over a lot. He's not doing those wild plays, not driving to the basket and getting in trouble and just tossing it out of nowhere. So I really like that, and still found his own shot, because you still got to be a scoring threat as the point guard because you want them to collapse on you. Obviously, the inverse that we have of that doesn't necessarily have that same scoring threat Connor Enright. But Connor Enright, righteously so, plays within himself. Connor finished with just 2 points on the game, but led the team in assists at 8 assists with just 1 turnover. what could you ask more from Tatum Connerway? Doing the things he does on defense, being the pest, continuing to do that, but also then being your assist leader. If you're not going to score all the points, be the main contributor in scoring those points that are scored. And that's what you see with those high assist to turnover rates from Connor Enright, game in, game out, and what you kind of want to see. Again, this is the kind of stat sheet you just dream of, and I love talking about. This show is so much easier when you have games like this to wake up and be able to talk about good things. Obviously, it's not fun to make your coffee and groan out and have to come down here into my office and talk about losses. We'll do both, but these are the ones I cherish and I love to sit in. So I said 3 things that IU needed to improve upon and needs to do on a game in, game out basis to have success. And that's, again, making threes, being aggressive going to the basket. And I really think the third one is player specific, and that is Reed Bailey being aggressive. And he was not aggressive. He was not back to his aggressive self in the Kansas State game. But in this game, he was back to that Kansas State second half player that we saw before. He was more physical. He was more aggressive on it. He was out of the starting lineup in this. And I don't think that was for any reason other than to maybe mix things up a little bit from the coaching staff. After a loss, you'll tend to kind of do something to kind of shake things up, get things out of it. Can't know for sure if it was the motivating factor, but Reed was back to his aggressive self and everything like that. It was very, very efficient game for him as well. The most efficient, you could say, with 18 points, 6 for 6 from the field, and 6 for 6 from the 3-point free throw line, and 5 rebounds on the game. Obviously, I'd prefer a few more rebounds out of him, but just efficient in that way. And I think he was attacking. Penn State does have some good size. Obviously, again, they're a young, less experienced team, but whatever the coaching staff told him in these practices leading up to this game after the Louisville obviously stuck with him. Now, I hope we don't have to constantly have this back and forth with him, that we will get a letdown game and he's not as aggressive and then come back and we'll get this again. Hopefully he can find this motivation and see in this game tape what he did to be able to get himself that success, because he was screening well, he was rotating well, he was taking shots that he was able to make. I think that's one of the things as well in these physical games where he has struggled. He's forcing things, and he obviously was not forcing things in this game. How many assists did he have? I didn't see that. Just 1 assist. So that's maybe that's the blemish on the stat line for him in this game. But again, that's my 3 things that IU needs to do offensively to constantly have success. Again, that 3 points, aggressive, get to the hoop, get downhill, especially Tatum Connerway, I will say to that degree. And then Reed Bailey being physical and asserting himself into the game. And another person on it, honestly, that second point of getting to the basket, another person that can do that for IU, and I think opened up his game a little bit more in this one, doing so, was Nick Dorn. Nick Dorn continues to build upwards in his game. In this game, he finished with 13 points on 5 for 6 from the field. He was 2 for 4 from 3. And 1 for 1 on the free throw. Just had 1 free throw on an and 1 attempt. It was that one. 2 rebounds, no turnovers for him. So 25 minutes of play. I think that may be up there in the higher minutes that he tends to get. Let me see if I can see what his averages are while we're sitting here talking about it. Total minutes. I don't have average right here. Average minutes right now this year is 12 minutes for him. So obviously higher minutes for him in this game. But I think it was not only his 3-point shot that looked good again in this game, but he was looking for 2s as well. If you go back to other games, the stat sheets just read 3-point shots from him. But I liked seeing him get downhill, cut to the basket. They found him in those situations as well. Obviously, some of those situations and some of those stats might have a bit of an asterisk next to it because he did have that extra run towards the end of the game with some of the bench guys and some of the walk-ons. So he is kind of one of the focuses or scorers in those situations. But just like how he continues to grow. And he is going to be an integral piece in January, February, towards the end of this season that needs to be a third scoring option, the third leading scorer. And if he continues to build up, that's just such a positive for Indiana in this game. Tucker DeVries, I think, had a quieter game, really kind of just taking care of business, but letting Lamar kind of have the hot hand and let him just kind of take the spotlight in this game. There were some great moments with Lamar and Tucker taking screening each other, getting good shot looks and everything like that. I think when teams are going to overplay Lamar or Tucker, if you put them in situations where they're together and they're screening for each other, back screen, someone else is coming over, giving a back screen for Lamar or for Tucker, that's the situations you want to put teams in, because if they're right next to each other, who you going to double? You're going to have to kind of honor the screen and stick with one, and that's going to free up the other. So I like that we kind of went to that a little bit more in this game, and it kind of allowed him to sit back and just kind of let the game come to him. He just finished with 12 points. I say just, but it is a just for Tucker as being needing to be one of our leading scorers, and wasn't as efficient, honestly, for him as well. He missed kind of some bunnies, and you could saw he was a little more frustrated. I think where Lamar said he saw the ocean in the basket, I think Tucker maybe saw it a little bit smaller, and it frustrated. It might have been in his head a little bit in this game. He was 5 for 10 from the field and 2 for 6 from the three. But it shows, at least with the lower competition games, that if things aren't going his way, he can kind of still step back and be that playmaker, in which he finished with 6 assists in this game. So while his scoring wasn't up there, he at least stayed active in the game and was contributing. Wasn't one of those things where, oh, woe is me, my shot's not going down, I'm going to kind of just sit back and do nothing. He continued to contribute into this game. Looking at kind of more of the bench guys and other guys in this game that got a little bit more longer of a run. Trent Sicily, while not a big scoring game for him with just 4 points, he did get 8 rebounds, was Indiana's leading rebounder, I believe. Yes, at 8 rebounds, all of the defensive rebounds. So he did get a good amount of run with starters too. So he's kind of that guy that gets in there and can be, again, like we like to say at Indiana, the glue guy, and do those cleanup items. So he was there crashing the boards, getting those to go down. Obviously not as efficient of a game. He did look for his shot. He was 1 for 4 in this game, 0 for 3 from 3. Alexis also is another guy that got some extended time because of the situation. Not really as efficient. He's still trying to find his way in his spot on this team and get the rhythm going. It was interesting, though, to see with him that he was playing in a kind of point guard situation with that second squad or third squad, bringing the ball up a lot, initiating the offense. So that was an interesting thing to see, and I love to see him get those minutes. Again, a bummer in this situation, though, that Josiah Miles wasn't there and available to be able to get some extra run. I think the last guy to kind of talk about that kind of really struggled in this game as well, didn't find his way, was Alexis. Obviously, I think he got into some foul trouble early in the game, so he sat for that, but zeros across the board for him in this game. Just 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Didn't attempt or make a shot in this one. But again, great stat sheet, great to look at. A lot easier on the eyes overall. Digging into some of those numbers in this game, IU finished with 1.569 points per possession to Penn State's held Penn State just under 1 point per possession. They were 0.986 points per possession. What continues to be my favorite stat on this show to talk about and everything is that assist to made baskets stat. And this was another beauty. 30 assists. That's incredibly high on 42 made baskets. 30 assists, again, to just 10 turnovers for Indiana. To put that in kind of perspective and how lopsided those numbers are, assist to turnover ratio, Penn State finished with just 6 assists on the game with 14 turnovers. And IU would capitalize on those 14 turnovers to get 26 points. So very good numbers, very good chain of numbers they're looking at. IU finished shooting-wise 69% from the field and 55% from three. Gosh, that's just amazing to be able to say. Second half was a very, very efficient half for Indiana at 70% from the field and 63% from three. Also from the line. Indiana take care of business from the line at 80% from the line, 12 of 15 overall. Again, rebounds looked better in this game. Total rebounds 29 to 28. Defensive rebounds 24 to Penn State's 8 offensive rebounds. So great job taking care of that off of Penn State's misses. Penn State did win in second chance points at 12 to Indiana's 9. Bench points, IU would accelerate to that. That's a lot thanks to Reed Bailey being on the bench, 38 to 29. Points in the paint, Indiana wins that as well. Just, again, very efficient game. Taking shots where they are able to make them, 3-point line and around the hoop. Not many long twos taken from Indiana. That's kind of been a theme in this game, in this season, I will say, overall for Indiana. Just a great game to look at. So many great stats that I could just continue to look at, but don't want to get too happy. Obviously, you don't want to get too complacent because Indiana comes up soon and has a very big game coming up away to take care of business and everything. This is the time, though, that I do want to talk about our unofficial sponsor of this program, and that is Hoosier Ticket Project. You can go over to HoosierTicketProject.org. If you have tickets to upcoming Indiana sporting events that you cannot attend and everything, think about during this holiday season giving the gift of that experience to other Hoosiers that aren't able to get to the two games by donating your tickets to Hoosier Ticket Project. And they will help find deserving fans in need that may not have the means to get there themselves. Let's create moments for Hoosiers. And they're great listener, great someone in the of this show. Jennifer continues to donate her tickets, and we get great fans in there. Follow the Hoosier Ticket Project Twitter to see great pictures of fans in there. Not only men's basketball, women's basketball. You can donate those tickets. They will find a good home for them. You can also go on there as well. If you don't have tickets to give and want to give monetarily, they also have that option on the site. So go to HoosierTicketProject.org to donate tickets, or you can also nominate someone to receive tickets. So such a great unofficial sponsor of this program and a great thing started for Indiana Hoosiers. So think about that moving forward. Looking ahead, obviously Indiana has a big one against Kentucky. That is Saturday's game on ESPN. It's a 7:30 p.m. game, an away game there at Kentucky. So great to see this rivalry back reinstated, to be able to get in there and play Kentucky, a decent Kentucky team. This is going to be an interesting test, a very athletic team again, and a long team. So after this success, it's going to be all about how does Indiana respond? How do they get back at a team that is athletically better than them, that is athletically and physically stronger? So I am nervous for this game. I'm excited for this game. We will see what kind of situation shows up. Can this home success get on the road, and can we see this again for Indiana? I sure hope so. We will. This will be one of the bigger tests to see how dramatic that roller coaster is for Indiana going into the rest of this season. And I hope things look a little bit better than we have seen in other very physical games. But that'll do it, guys, for this edition of Hoosier Morning After. I appreciate you guys being there with me, listening to one guy sit here and rant about a win, but what a great win to be able to talk about and everything. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I see you guys there in the Twitter, or excuse me, in the YouTube chat and everything like that. Caden subscribed. I appreciate that, Caden. We'll be back again. Probably have to switch this game. It'll be Monday morning. Will be the Hoosier Morning After Kentucky game. So look for that when Martha and I are back to hopefully talk about the win. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. You can find out more information when we're going to go live and all of that. I appreciate all of your viewers, those of you listening on the podcast streams. Until then, guys, go out there, have yourself a wonderful day.